Hello dear students, myself Mrs. Rajeshri Naik from BYK College of Commerce Nasik, working as a teacher of economics, welcomes you on our online lecture series for Standard 11th arranged by Gokhale Education Society Nasik. In the last online lecture, we have studied the rest 4 basic concepts of microeconomics. And today, in this online lecture, we are going to study about macroeconomics and its basic concepts. So content of today's presentation is branches of economics, in that macroeconomics and basic concepts of macroeconomics. The second branch of economics is macroeconomics. Macro means large or aggregate or total. Macroeconomics is therefore the study of aggregates covering the entire economy. The study of aggregates covering the entire economy such as total employment, national income, national output, total investment, total savings, total consumption, aggregate supply, aggregate demand, general price level, etc. According to J.L. Hansen, macroeconomics is that branch of economics which considers the relationship between large aggregates such as the volume of employment, total amount of savings, investment, national income, etc. Let us understand the basic concepts of macroeconomics. The first one is national income. This reveals the total economic performance of a nation. It is referred to as the total income of a country. In common, national income means the total value of goods and services produced annually in a country. In other words, the total amount of income occurring to a country from economic activities in a year's time is known as national income. It includes payments made to all resources in the form of rent, wages, interest, and profit. In the economic sense, national income is the aggregate monetary value of all final goods and services produced in an economy during a year. Definition by National Income Committee. A national estimate measures the volume of commodities and services turned out during a given period counted without duplication. Next basic concept of macroeconomics is savings. It is that part of the income which is set aside to satisfy the future needs by foregoing current consumption. In other words, savings is that part of income which is not spent currently on consumption. In other words, savings is that part of income which is not spent currently on consumption. Saving is the engine that drives long-run economic growth by providing funds for investment in capital and projects, which then produce output in the future. The income which is not spent currently on consumption is called as personal savings. The income which is not spent currently on consumption is called as personal saving. These savings can remain on the bank accounts for future sake. Now see the picture. Future sake means for traveling, for education, or for house means shelter. So for future sake or for future need, or to be invested in bonds, shares, properties, etc. Personal savings plus the business savings and public savings is known as national savings. Personal savings plus the business savings and public savings is known as national savings. Public savings are basically tax revenues less public expenditure. And business savings can be measured by the value of undistributed corporate profits. Next basic concept is investment. It refers to creation of capital assets through mobilization of savings, for example, machinery, equipment, etc. In a simple language, investment in economics means an addition to the country's physical stock of capital. In a simple language, investment in economics means an addition to the country's physical stock of capital with new factory buildings, plant and machinery, tools, equipments, raw materials, as well as finished and semi-finished goods. It is also known as capital formation. Savings is the starting point of capital formation because savings are used for investing into new capital assets. If the investment funds are higher in the economy, it will result in more employment, more production, and more income generation in the economy. Let us see another basic concept, trade cycles. Trade cycles are fluctuations in business. They are ups and downs in the overall economic activities. They are ups and downs in the overall economic activities. The business cycle is characterized by 4 phases. See the picture. 4 phases: expansion, boom, recession, and depression. Now, expansion phase. In this phase, increase in aggregate demand, increase in output, increase in employment, etc. And all the economic activities are favorable for the economy. All the economic activities are favorable for the economy in expansion phase. Second phase, boom. This phase means the peak of the trade cycle. Full employment is reached and emergence of excess demand. It is also known as upswing and a growth period. It is also known as upswing and a growth period. So boom period for a country is marked by significant GDP growth. Third phase, recession phase. The boom comes to an end. It is followed by recession. The boom comes to an end and it is followed by recession. Aggregate demand falls, fall in output, fall in employment, etc. And all the economic activities are unfavorable for the economy. All the economic activities are unfavorable for the economy. And the fourth phase, depression. This phase means rapidly falling of aggregate demand, very low level of output, high unemployment ratio, which eventually reaches the bottom side of the economy. And these ups and downs means fluctuations caused by inflation and deflation, means deflation respectively. Now, what do you mean by inflation? It is a continuous rise in general price level. What do you mean by inflation? It is a continuous rise in general price level. Means inflation refers to the rise in the prices of most goods and services of daily or common use, such as food, clothing, housing, recreation, transport, consumer staples, etc. Inflation measures the average price change in a basket of commodities and services over time. Inflation thus indicates a decrease in the purchasing power of a society as well as nation's currency. Inflation thus indicates a decrease in the purchasing power of a society as well as a nation's currency. Now, what do you mean by depression? It is a continuous fall in the overall prices and lowering down the economic activity in general. It is a continuous fall in overall prices and lowering down of economic activity in general. It is the opposite of often encountered as inflation. A reduction in money supply or credit availability is a reason for deflation in most cases. So deflation thus indicates an increase in the purchasing power of a society. So the balance between these two economic conditions, that inflation and deflation, opposite sides of the same coin, is delicate, and an economy can quickly swing from one condition to other. The next basic concept of macroeconomics is economic growth. The term economic growth has a quantitative dimension. The term economic growth draws our attention towards size or quantity. Size or quantity. It has a quantitative dimension. Growth is not an end itself. It is an important tool for increasing employment and raising the living standard of the people. In simple words, economic growth means an increase in real national income of the country. Economic growth means an increase in the real national income of the country. According to J.K. Mehta, economic growth indicates the quantitative increase in national income. The next and the last basic concept of macroeconomics is economic development. This is a wider concept which has a qualitative dimension. See the picture. Economic development, the process in which people in a country become wealthier, healthier, better educated, and have greater access to good quality housing. Economic development has been one of the universally accepted objectives since the Second World War. It is a wider concept. Economic development implies economic growth plus progressive changes in certain important variables which determine well-being of the people. For example, education, health, etc. So economic development implies economic growth plus progressive changes in certain important variables which determine well-being of the people. For example, education, health, etc. Thus, it has a qualitative dimension. According to Milton Friedman, economic development is an innovative process that leads to the structural transformation of social system. There are two main approaches to the concept of economic development. There are two main approaches to the concept of economic development. First is traditional approach and the second is modern approach. Now, traditional approach. According to traditional approach, economic development implies sustained annual increase in GDP at 5% to 7% or more plus changes in the structure of production and employment. It shows a fall in the share of agriculture and an increase in the contribution of manufacturing and tertiary sectors. In this approach, in this traditional approach, the objectives of poverty eradication, reduction of inequalities, and unemployment did not get much attention. Now, modern approach. According to modern approach, improvement in material welfare, particularly for the people with the lowest income. Improvement in material welfare, particularly for the people with the lowest income. Eradication of mass poverty, eradication of illiteracy, diseases, and reduction in infant mortality rate. What do you mean by IMR? Infant mortality rate means what? It is the rate of a children dying before reaching 1 year of age out of every 1,000 children. Then reduction of unemployment, changes in the contribution of sectors to national income, that is dominance of industry than agriculture. Economy functioning for welfare of the people. So today, economic growth and economic development have become the global buzzwords. Before 1960, these two terms were considered as synonyms. But later, some economists started using them as different concepts. Growth is a natural, whereas development is a deliberate and planned. Growth is a natural, whereas development is deliberate and planned. Now, for example, due to increase in population, if the number of students in a college increases, it is called as growth. Due to increasing population, if the number of students in a college increases, it is called as growth. But along with this, if there is an improvement in infrastructure, improvement in result, merit, placement, sports, social and cultural activities, etc., popularity of the college increases, and when it is known as development. So, in today's lecture, we have covered the study of macroeconomics and its basic concepts. That's it. We will soon come up with another topic. Till then, have a great time. Thanking you.